as like the best groups of the main guys at this time.
When they, I mean, you got, I mean, that's when the groups are big.
Like
you talking about
Jagged Edge,
112,
maybe
Jagged
112.
I said Jagged Edge 112 era, so during that time, and they were the solo guys, which is, I mean, which is fine. But like even when
Bobby Valentino went solo at first, where everybody knows.
Yeah, right, he did. So when Bobby Valentino, when he did Blackberry Molasses, kind of like the crowd's reaction let me know we're in the wrong place.
Yeah, they too young. They weren't born yet.
Right, they weren't born yet. So the thing is, Sammy comes out with this fast-paced song, and then he does Blackberry Molasses. Now, while I'm sitting over here waving side to side, it's everybody else is like, I mean, I guess I kind of know this song. Or what did Sammy tell him? He's like, nobody outside of Atlanta knew that song. That's not true. No. But you can't do that.
I think like, nobody 30 and under didn't know that here.
Like you can't put a old Bobby Brown song against some Chris Brown. Like it's just different.
So my thing is, I was watching that. I was wondering, like, who else is supposed to be here? Like, who else is trying out for JV in this particular verses? And I was like,
did y'all hear what he said? Who else is trying out for JV?
I was like, we're clearly not going for varsity. They don't.
I hate it here.
The jerseys don't even fit. But the thing I'm sitting there looking at is, I'm like, where's Lloyd at?
Oh, somebody just said Lloyd.
Oh, somebody, hold on. Just I'm going to put up a comment.
They said Lloyd.
Shout out to my sister-in-law, Amanda, who is showing you love, Stacy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to put in Lloyd. Somebody just commented, Lloyd, what happened to Lloyd?
I mean, where was he at? Like, that was one of them. See, and here's the thing I'm most worried about with this is that right on the heels of this, I see Joel Santana call out Memphis Bleak. And I'm like, nah, man. See, I know what's about to happen now. We're gonna have like Dragon and Tony Yayo, and it's gonna be like all sorts of
Cuckoo Cal versus Joe Budden.
Yeah,
wonders.
and like here's the big thing about it. Like my whole thing is I've been telling Daryl this for a month now because I've been upset. I've been pissed off. I've been upset about how this is going. I said, hey man, it's time to ban verses for something go wrong. I don't want no more verses. And here's why. Because when verses started, man, these were stadium shows. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I got this guy going against this guy. And we got amazing matchups of people I never even would have thought. I'm talking about people with hits for 2 decades. Man, now I got Sammy involved. I got people checking for where Lloyd gonna be at. I'm like, this is it. This has ended any chance of anybody legitimate ever coming and doing this again. There's been no situation in life where Jay-Z or Kanye West, anybody like that, has come after Bobby Valentino. That's just not the natural order of things, and it ain't gonna work out that way. So now what we are is now we stuck with the JV team for everything forever, and I hate it because we clipped it too early, man. And I hate what done happened now. Now I'm stuck with this. Now we all stuck with gum on our shoe now, and that shit annoying as hell.
All right.
Somebody just said that we got a comment that's about to come through in a second about that this was the G League of verses.
Yes. All 10-day contracts.
Baby.
Oh, it says craziest thing. Lloyd, Sammy, and Bobby B did a show together a few nights after.
Who was there? Who was there for that?
The G League of Versus.
See, man, that hurts me, man. That hurts me. Do you remember what Versus was when we were shut in? When you had stuff like RZA digging into the crates, you had DMX and Snoop out there.
2 Chainz with Ross. That was a decent one.
Yeah. When did we lose it? Because I mean, we started seeing some quality changes, but when did we really lose what Versus was about?
See, Stacey, I'm glad you said that because I hadn't thought about this, and I realized
that's a great question.
This is when I realized that Cats was about to get out of pocket with it. It was when Teddy Riley had that 15-piece band.
No.
Very early on.
No, Matt. I'm going to disagree with you on that, Matt. That was actually what took Versus to want to do it live. He actually was an innovator on the low.
No, it was the wrong kind of innovation, though. It was the wrong kind of innovation, though. It's like when John Morant started doing that dance that was for touchdowns in the middle of basketball games. Some things don't need to exist in some places. And Teddy Riley did too much, and then we couldn't get that verses off. We had to watch Babyface ask him, Teddy, can you hear me? For 45 minutes. That's when it went wrong.
That was involved in both of those matches was very, very funny.
I think one of them, I think one. I think the 3-6 Mafia Bone was the beginning because of that crowd support, and then the 8-Ball MJG we talked about last episode, like how that crowd was like super lame for all that classic music. And then if you go back even more, kinda Bow Wow, Soulja Boy.
Well, if anybody,
that was a year ago.
But because you just gotta have legends up there. Like, I'm not saying I guess legends figured. I just want you to be in the game for and have like classic music. Oh, you know what? Let me switch that out because I thought about this. I think you can only be young if you're a rapper. If you're R&B, you need to have like hits.
Yeah.
If you rap, maybe it's easier to be a legacy artist as a rapper. But as an R&B artist, all them cats, none of them were classic artists. No disrespect to Mario because he did a great job. From the little bit I watched, fast forwarding, but he did his thing. But I think if an R&B artist, you gotta be like legacy doing it.
I think there needs to be, how you got to be tall enough to get on some rides. Like you got to have a certain amount of hits to do a versus.
You do. Yeah, you're supposed to. So the fact that they had to have a whole lineup, a whole undercard, and all of this
tag team matchup,
like tag team matchups and stuff like that. That's because y'all didn't have enough hits on your own, so you had to become this super group of people to try to do stuff. And
like our comment we just got right here is like Usher. Listen. They should have had everybody that was on that versus go against Usher as a collective. Like all four of them went against Usher. Like Usher would have won.
Or Chris Brown.
Usher would have won. Usher or Chris Brown would have won.
Yeah.
But I can't get like a Usher versus Chris Brown versus now because none of them is coming after them cats. At least not in a performance. Probably in real life has happened, but not in a performance situation.
How many R&B artists have 20 hits? A ridiculous amount.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Way more than you like. If you can't come up with 20 that have them, then we already got a problem. Like,
and it's the thing though. Some of these artists that we'll talk about wrote up for other people too.
True.
Yeah.
Very true.
Like Pleasure P.
Who did Pleasure P wrote great for?
I don't know. He was just saying I don't know. He just kept complaining about at the end. They kept cutting him off all the shit he wrote for.
When I tell you that I know nothing about Pleasure P, like I'm watching this thing and I'm like, who they like? What is this song? Like I absolutely felt old with Sammy. I mean, there were definitely songs that I knew, right, that he had done, but there were some other ones. I'm like, who is this? What song is this? Where they do that at? Like, I felt extremely old watching that.
The only songs I really knew was Bobby V. He was the only one that had songs that I actually knew, was familiar with out of everybody.
I knew the Sam when Sammy was like, let's talk about movies. I'm like, you finna talk about Hardball. Like, I mean, because it ain't like he was on too many movie soundtracks. I knew that was gonna happen.
He did a Hardball song?
He did. Bow Wow.
Lil
on the
Wayne
song. But yeah, the song like strike one, caught you by surprise, strike two.
Did he do Kiss Me Through the Phone?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
okay. that was the first one he did. I think that was his first
when
song.
I think of Sammy, look, all I think about is Crazy Thing I Do for Love, and I like it.
So there's a few people missing. There's a couple people missing from this thing that, like, I don't know, like, wouldn't this have been like the lane for like Life Jennings to be in, or like, I don't know, who else?
Life Jennings ain't got 20.
Jaheim. Like, I'm just trying to think about people from that era.
Don't have 20 either, man. Avant, I would say Avant's closer to
Neo.
Yeah, see? Yeah.
Neo, because he wrote.
The thing is, Neo gets to dig into the songs that he's written for people.
Trey Songz been raping. We can't do that.
Yeah.
Now, what would be dope, I'd like to see a male and a female battle.
Okay.
I think
Alicia Keys and
I'm thinking about Neo.
Legend.
Neo and what he's written for people. And it's like, I'm like, well, who else is out there that was a singer-songwriter or a songwriter-singer, for that matter, right? That can just go into that bag. So that's that's a Kerry Hilson, that's a Jasmine Sullivan. So you may not have had 20 on your own, but once we start adding in what you wrote for somebody, then that kicks it up a notch.
Yeah, that's true. Like a Dream versus Kerry Hilson song right off type joint.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
So shout out to my sister-in-law. She says songs. There are 2 songs that we know of, Sammy and Pleasure P.
She feeling away. I like it.
Oh, somebody just popped up. Kerry Hilson.
Yeah,
we just said.
Yeah, so so she may be able to get in there, because I think we forget. Sometimes we know who wrote a song, and then sometimes we just kind of feel like, oh dang, they wrote that. You don't know that somebody else wrote it. So there are a lot of people that are in the industry or who never were able to make it as a singer, but they just got that pen.
And Kerry Hilson fine too, man. People get mad at me when I be saying she fine.
I'm not mad at you.
She's very pretty, but you know, the Hive got her up out
Yeah,
of here.
man. I be getting them bees.
The Hive stung her like her name was Thomas J. They got her up out of here.
Oh, see, so
I want to see Missy versus Buster.
Missy,
but I know Missy will have more R&B though.
Missy in a versus situation would be a problem. And I've been saying that for a while because Missy got so many different avenues she could go down. It would take a real particular type of artist to step up against Missy. I think you can send man, woman, alien, whatever, and she gonna have something for you.
You have to do Missy versus Buster, but they have to just do a video versus.
Hey, this cool ass Scott from the I Love 90s Music podcast. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like it. On the SOLC Network. You finna get all the real deal on the 90s, the 2000s, and the splash of that 80s. Do it right now, man. And I'll be your friend.